JJ the CPA here. Hope you're doing well. So in this video, I was going to go through some common sense things that when you're facing a lot of uncertainty like many of you are, and I hate that you're in that position, but when you're on the other end of where you never thought you would be, sometimes what seems like common sense on somebody on the outside looking in, or common sense to those that aren't in a pandemic, may escape those that are recognizing that their house is on fire or they're standing on the train tracks. So bear with me. Some of these things you may say, well, JJ, that kind of seems like an obvious. I don't have any magic potion that will be a part of this video. What you will hear in this video is some strong encouragement to not panic, strong encouragement to not use up your assets, and strong encouragement to negotiate and communicate with those that are around you. Taking a deep breath each morning when you're feeling overwhelmed, to take a deep breath, move slower. When your mind's racing and all kinds of thoughts are going through your mind of what could happen, this is exactly what this video is to combat, because all the what ifs many times don't happen, but you can't make decisions on what ifs. You have to make decisions on the best information that you have at your fingertips. And so the overall theme here is to assess, hold, wait, and see. December 9th is when this video is coming out. We're waiting on stimulus. Hopefully it will be here soon. If not this week, maybe by the holidays. The leadership in Washington, D.C. have said we're not going home until we have stimulus. I know we've heard that before. There's lots going on in the world, but even more reason to assess, hold, wait, and see. Assess what? The first thing that you would want to do after taking a deep breath as many times as you need to, okay, fresh air, is to take a position of knowing where your cash position is going to be in 3 weeks or 6 weeks. I've said this so many times. You can go to my website. That's a community service only website, meaning there's no information in there to hire me or to provide me with any of your information, but it's jjthecpahelp.com. I have a survival page, so I'll put a link in the body of this, but on that page, I've got a small document that I put together, encouraging you, walking you through kind of some dialogue, if you will, that you can read, that I put together in March. And I put it together for my clients. You're just now going to be able to share in that. And also in that same memo, if you will, and also I have a separate link to the exact same thing that is the last page of the memo, which is a detailed analysis of knowing where your cash position is if you really want to get down to the wire. But you can know your cash position in 60 seconds. How much money do you have in the bank right now? How much do you know guaranteed will be coming in the next 3 to 6 weeks? And what are your major expenses in the next 3 weeks or 6 weeks? How much cash are you going to have left? You want to assess that, because that'll help you make every decision that much better starting right now. There's no reason to be concerned because none of it's happened in 3 to 6 weeks, right? Meaning it is what it is. I hate to say it that way, but you got to know what it is. Getting in 3 to 6 and realizing you're out of money, you'll look back and go, if I would have known that 3 weeks ago or 6 weeks ago, I would have made a different decision back then. So assess where you're at, but then hold, wait, and see, right? Just know this. What's different about this, and I've talked about it in different videos. I went live on Monday and talked with 3 wonderful individuals, business owners out in California. But realize this, the crisis is not how can I pay my bills. Okay, the crisis is this. It's the pandemic. It's COVID. It's the shutdowns. That's the crisis that you don't have any control over. It's not your fault. It's not your fault. The reason I want you to really hear that is that it should make it easier for you to assess where you're at. Losing a big customer, a number of events that could happen in your business that cause it to start to slide. You're not bringing in enough business in normal conditions. You might look at that and go, man, I should have done something different here. I should have done something better here because now I'm in these circumstances. Here's the thing to note. You couldn't have done something different or better. You're in the circumstances because these are the circumstances of the world, of the state that you're in right now. So taking a deep breath to realize, okay, that's not on you, then the rest of this, you should be able to do that much easier. There's no pride issue here. Okay? Pride issue is, well, crap, I made a bad move and I don't want anybody to know. Everybody's shut down if you're in an area where it's shut down. You're not alone. So cash is king. Hold on to your money, right? Second part of what I told you. Hold on to your money. Don't spend it till you have to. Don't pay down debt just to get rid of a payment. Many will say, okay, hey, I got 10 grand. If I took 3 grand of it and I paid off this note, then I don't have to make this $300 a month payment. Wrong. That's not what you do when your house is on fire and you're on the railroad tracks. You got to get off the railroad tracks. You got to get the fire out on your house. You're not making normal economic decisions, taking 3 grand of your precious 10 grand to get rid of a $300 a month payment. Might make sense under normal conditions, but right now you need the 3 grand. You can make the payment the next month with the $300 with your 3 grand, and the next month and the next month and the next month. Don't pay down debt just to get rid of a payment. There are 28.7 million companies. 28.7 million companies. Guess what? 88% of them are less than 20 employees. Okay, they have fewer than 20 employees. 40% have revenue under 100,000. Why am I telling you this? You're not alone. Okay, your customers, your vendors, your landlord, your bank, they're in it with you. Communicate with them in advance. Ask what your options are. Know where your cash position is before you get to it, and communicate with those that you're dealing with. Vendors, are you going to be able to pay them? Customers, are you going to be able to get paid? Are you going to be able to fulfill orders? Being in front of your circumstances by communicating puts you in a completely different position when then maybe you are completely out of funds. Put you in a completely different position maybe to help you not get out of all your funds. Okay? Pride doesn't come into a decision-making process if you're in the middle of a pandemic. What comes in your decision-making process is survival. You can do it with morals, great morals. With manners, you are able to do this with integrity, and the way to do that is communication, transparency. Guess what? I'm looking at my cash position and I don't see how I'm going to be able to pay rent in January. What are my options? Yes, you run the risk of someone saying, well, then you're out. But guess what? They don't get to kick you out when it's December 9th because you just told them you're not going to be able to pay rent on January. Okay? But you get to know your options. You're giving them a heads up. Call your bank and landlord to inquire of your options. Communicate in advance. Know your cash position in 3 weeks at all times. At all times. Every Monday, where am I going to be in 3 weeks? Next Monday, where am I going to be in 3 weeks? 60 seconds, what's my cash position? Boom, it's right there. I know it. That's what I got in the bank. Okay? I'm going to look through and I'm like, oh yeah, there's my payroll. There's my rent. There's my big note payment. There's a car payment, whatever the case. Those things are going to pop out to you to go, okay. So that's kind of my major dollars that are coming out. That's just scrolling or looking at a bank statement activity the last 30 days to know, okay, here's the major items that are coming out. And then, well, what money's coming in that you can guarantee? What's the sum of those figures? That's your position in 3 weeks. Yes, it would be better if you're able to pull up a GL and the financials and dive into it and know your knick-knack, all the little things that go into your numbers? Yeah, but for a lot of you, your numbers aren't necessarily up to date. Maybe they're behind a month or two. And so what happens is you don't want to look at the numbers because you then give yourself an excuse to go, well, I got to get it all into QuickBooks. Well, No, you don't. You need to look at your bank statement. And if the argument is, well, but there could be checks that are outstanding. Okay, your house is on fire. We're talking about the three major things going on. When I say what's your cash position in 3 weeks, it's not, well, is it $14,362 or $14,800 or $15,200? What you need to know is it zero? Is it 2,000? Is it 10,000? Is it 15,000? Big round numbers here is what you're working with. Don't put your head in the sand and go, well, I don't really want to look at it. Wrong. You're on the train track. You know how you get off a train track? Doesn't matter if it's a light at the end of the tunnel or a train coming at you. You know what you do? You just get off the train track. How do you get off the train track? Know your cash position at all times 3 weeks from now. Recognize it's not your fault. You're not a victim. Don't let yourself tell yourself that this is your fault. But then don't be a victim. And all I'm saying on that is that no one wants to hear about your woes. What they want to hear is you can't pay them. Hey, with the close down, I'm not going to be able to pay you. Okay? Not, well, I had to pay for this and that and all the hard luck stories that all of us have. It's just clear cut, and it'll make it easier for you to just get real and communicate with those around you. Don't pull money from retirement. Just don't. You know, when you pull money from retirement, and I'm not even kidding around, it's literally you're 3 months behind and you're facing literal true eviction. You're pulling money out of retirement when you're like, I got to pay my health insurance and I'm already 30 days behind. I've got to put food on the table. Retirement is not, well, I want to stay ahead of things. Retirement is, you don't pull money out of retirement to go, well, if I paid off this $3,000, I wouldn't have this $300 bill. You're not pulling money from retirement for your business. You should not pull retirement to pay a third party unless you're in a situation where that third party is going to prevent you from food and shelter. You don't pull money from retirement to pay your employees. You don't pull from your retirement to pay your employees. You don't. Now, in the CARES Act, you can pull money out of retirement, which you should not do, up to $100,000, which you should never do. There's no reason you need $100,000 out of your retirement. But you can pull it out. It's still going to be taxable, but you won't pay the 10% penalty if you're affected by COVID. This only goes through the end of the year. So no, don't pull money out by the end of the year just to have it. Okay? Because you've pulled money out of your retirement. You've pulled it out of the market, if you will. And taking care of something right now in the next 3 to 6 months, pulling money out, you now affected the next 30 to 40 years of your life. Not a good decision. You will pay tax. I'm just going to tell you, you're going to lose 30 to 40% of it to tax. And it does matter. Yes, I'm getting ready to get evicted. I need $10,000. Okay, I'm going to have to pay $3,000. I'm going to net $7,000. Now I can make a loan payment. You can pay it back over 3 years. Most people don't, though. Let's just get real. If you don't have the money now, borrowing the money and then thinking you're going to be able to pay it back even within 3 years is minorly kidding yourself, because you're already in such dire straits. You're having to pull money from retirement. You're going to have to be made whole, get caught back up, get business back open, get ahead of the game enough to pay back retirement. Doesn't happen. Look at the percentages. Those that borrow from retirement, only 5% of them actually pay it back. Don't pull from retirement. Unemployment, remember that it is taxable. Doesn't mean don't get it. Get it if you qualify. Just know it's taxable. Keep your health care. Keep your health care. Right now, health care, right? It's renewing. Renew it. Renew it. Okay. Yeah. Maybe you are going with a plan that has a higher deductible or potentially is a little less expensive, but you need health insurance. Clearly, in this environment, you would know you need health insurance. You don't decide now, well, I'm not going to get health insurance because I don't have the money to pay for it right now. This is 30 days. This is 60 days. Okay. Hey, health insurance company, when it's now renewed in January and now you're in February, hey, what are my options now? I can't pay you. You're making that decision in February. Okay? Sign up for it. Get it. Don't cancel your life insurance, your disability income insurance. Many people think that's the first thing to cancel. It's the last thing to cancel. It's the last thing to cancel. We're in an environment, let's just get real, okay? Whether it's directly related to COVID or not, whatever your argument is, we know that there's been, 250,000 deaths this year that are somehow related to COVID. Okay, it's real. Disability income insurance. These are things that you need. Don't cancel them. If you think, well, I'll cancel it and I'll get it again later, most of the time you don't. And you know why? Because it's more expensive. You're going to be older, it's more expensive. If you have COVID, you may not be able to get that insurance or the same kind of insurance. Insurance is going to be a different world next year in terms of eligibility. Don't cancel it. Okay? Most insurance companies, they have a grace period. Figure out what it is. Don't cancel it. Don't cancel things that you need in the next 10 to 20 to 30 years because of right now. Okay? You can't feel sorry for yourself because there's no reason to feel sorry for yourself. And I don't mean to be harsh, but you don't need to feel sorry for yourself. Because why? Everybody's in the same circumstances. Most of the time, if I'm being honest, we feel sorry for ourselves. Why? Because we're embarrassed. And we need reassurances from those around us. But feeling sorry for ourselves gets us nowhere. Right? No one became successful. No one got themselves out of a hole feeling sorry for themselves. People don't really actually like to help people that are feeling sorry for themselves. They may do it because they feel guilty, right? If I'm just being honest. People want to help people that are positive, looking for options. The reason you don't need to feel sorry for yourself is that you didn't do any of this. Okay? Now, if you decide not to get off the tracks because you don't want to assess your cash position and you decide you just want to go blind into all of this and just pretend that everything's going to be okay or just ignore it or just zero out your retirement, and then you're going to have nothing in 6 months because you just wouldn't realize that what's going on here is not your fault and therefore you should approach it completely different than anything else, then you're going to be in a position where you're going to be feeling sorry for yourself in a way of you should have kicked yourself in the rear. You should have not allowed these circumstances to overcome you. We're going to wake up tomorrow. We're going to wake up in 30 days and in 90 days, in 1 year from today, you're going to wake up. And what will you have done over the last year? In what position will you be in? It's maneuvering. Right? So if we're on a sailboat, I don't know how to sail. I've been on them, right? But y'all probably know when you're on a sailboat, right? And you have your sail up, you've got to position that sail in a way to work with the wind. Sometimes the way the sail's going, you would think, why is the sail over here to make me actually go this way? The point is that working a sailboat would be like now. Things are going the opposite way. You're trying to go this way. You're trying to turn things to actually go this way. It's completely, in my opinion, unpredictable because when you're on a sailboat, it's the wind. You can't even see it. It's not like you can see the wind coming this way unless you happen to see flags or trees somewhere in the area. You're having to predict an invisible environment that's affecting your sails. But if you, for 1 second, go, well, this isn't working out, and you lift your hands, your sail's going to whip around and your boat's going to fall over. You have to recognize, I'm in a windstorm. My boat may be rocking and I see a big yacht over there and I'm in a little sailboat. And oh, this is embarrassing. I'm in this little sailboat. They must not think I know what I'm doing right now because all this wind, because no one can see there's wind. They must just think I'm an idiot and they don't know. And so you let go, you give up, you feel sorry for yourself. You start making all these excuses and none of it matters. What you've got to do is you're in your sailboat. Doesn't matter what's going on anywhere else. What's going on in your sailboat? Right now you're assessing the wind. What are you doing? I'm holding my position. Okay? I'm going to wait and see what's going to happen next. I'm going to hold this right here. I'm going to assess. I'm going to look around. I'm going to hold. I'm going to wait. And I'm going to see. Okay? So don't be making long-term decisions right now by making short-term decisions that ruin your long-term decisions. This isn't the time to expand. It's not time to hire new employees. It's not time to take on new customers that are going to then cause you to go more into debt, right? You need to take on customers, yes, but not customers that are going to require you to take more risk. You're taking on new customers and they need to pay you up front, okay? You may want that new business. Oh my gosh, I want that new business. And then somebody you don't even know that you now provide something to that somehow isn't able to pay you because either they weren't aware of what was coming ahead or they weren't honest with you. And now your business is further in trouble. So your customers need to pay you. They owe you. They need to pay you. If they're not paying you, they're probably in similar circumstances as you. Communicate with them. Get in front of them. Negotiate your bills nicely. There are certain bills you may not be able to negotiate, but utility bills, they have all kinds of programs, right? Food stamps and things to that effect. There's no pride to be lost. If there's things available to you and you need them, then take advantage of them. Medical bills. You're calling the doctor and you're calling the hospital and you say, hey, you do what you got to do, but I'm not going to be able to pay you right now. Okay? They're like, well, then we're not going to be able to see you. Then you need to get a hold of an attorney or you need to go to another doctor, but you don't necessarily pull money from retirement and waste all your money to go pay a doctor or to go pay a hospital. Those organizations should be able to take care of you nonetheless. Now, if you're in a medical situation, I'm not giving you blanket advice on every single solitary situation you could ever come across in your entire life, but I do know this. People have a misconception that, well, I can't go back to that doctor, or if you call and you ask, hey, what are my options? Okay, and if you're dealing with people that are rude with you, hey, you know what? I tell you what, I'm going to talk to you tomorrow. Point is that you can negotiate your bills. Negotiating your bills, though, isn't, well, will you take 8 when I owe you 10? That's not really what I'm talking about. Negotiating the bills is more, can I pay you over 2 months instead of 1? Right? And then doing that and staying in communication. Potentially adjust your withholdings or not paying a fourth quarter estimate, because if your year is down, you're not making as much. Do you need to pay in as much tax with your estimated taxes or your withholdings? You can go to irs.gov, go to the payroll calculator, figure out what it is that you should have withheld. And don't be trying to be in a direction of having a big refund. That's just good advice no matter when you are preparing or no matter what year you're in. Don't get big refunds. I have one client that desperately needs their refund that was filed in February and doesn't have the money, where if they had not withheld as much, they wouldn't be getting a refund. They would have already had the money in their pocket. Now, I will say this, the refund is actually due to an earned income credit, so not much you can do with there other than maybe get an advanced earned income credit. So with my client, there was nothing we could really do about it. It was an unexpected amount of refund, but nonetheless, still hasn't gotten it. Okay? Refunds are not Yahtzee. Refunds are not smart. Okay? You gave the money to the government all year. It's not a windfall. It's not a lottery. You shouldn't get refunds. You should really be breaking even. Make your holiday gifts. People love homemade stuff. Make gifts, right? Go to the dollar store and get your Christmas cards. Go to the dollar store to get your wrapping paper. That's where Amanda and I go, literally. Check out the dollar store, right? There's all kinds of things in there for $1. But make your gifts. You don't need to show someone that you love them by giving them a big gift that you went and bought that you don't have the money for. So it's under the tree, because you can make gifts. All kinds of gifts. Get creative. Might consider refinancing your loans, especially if this year is going to be not as good. Right now, underwriters are looking at your 18 and your 19 tax returns. They are going to look at your financials for this year. You're not going to be able to pull a fast one on anybody. But banks and underwriters have specific things they need to analyze. Interim or year-to-date financials aren't necessarily weighted the same way as a tax return is. You get to January and February, they're going to want to see your 2020 tax return. They're going to see your numbers anyway, so don't hear me as hurry and do it so they're not aware. I'm not saying, oh, you just lost your job, so go hurry and refinance and don't tell them you lost your job. What I'm telling you is when banks and underwriters are evaluating your credit, they're putting more weight on tax returns, not as much on the interim financials for the most part, right? For the most part. So if you're thinking you need to refinance, if you have a rate, check with the bank. Banks right now are happy to work with you and refinance, but I think we're going to have a banking crisis next year. I think interest rates will be higher, and if they're not higher, it's going to be harder to get a loan because there won't be as many loans to be given out. And the last thing is that whatever stimulus we do get, keep it around longer. PPP 2.0, I believe, will be in the next stimulus. At least we'll know up front. There'll probably be at least 24 weeks, but there'll be a long period of time to be able to spend it and use it wisely. If you're getting the $1,200 check, or if it's ultimately a $600 check, whatever the stimulus is, what do you think you should do when you get that money? Assess your overall cash position now with that money that's in your bank account. Hold, wait, and see. Right now, we're holding, waiting, and seeing what the next stimulus is. Once you have the next stimulus, you're going to assess, hold, wait, and see. What would be the hold then? Well, when am I going to open back up? I'm holding my position. What am I waiting for to open back up? To see what? To see what's going to happen. And then when you're doing that, figuring out what your other options are. So I wanted to run through these things. I said it at the beginning. These are really common sense items. I'm coming to you from a CPA. I'm throwing in the kind of language that I talk to my own clients about. And I know that if you've made it to here, you're a subscriber. And if you made it to here, you've probably watched some of my other videos. If you haven't, I appreciate you. I would invite you to subscribe. But what you need to know, and this is what, for the people that just come in and they just watch one video of mine, they don't know what I'm about, and they might hear, I'm coming from an angle, or maybe I'm being extra motivating. They don't know who it is that they're listening to, from the standpoint of my background and where I come from and what I've been through and what I've been through with my clients. But what I'm telling you is that my videos is how I talk to my clients. This isn't about drama and getting views like these other people on YouTube. This is a channel to help people. And I wish I'll just be honest, I wish it's 1:10 a.m. Okay? The reason I'm telling you that is a little punchy. I wish that I could find the people that put thumbs down and tell them, guess what? It's the same as when somebody gives me a thumbs up. Okay? YouTube doesn't see it any different Thumbs up, thumbs down, what they see is engagement. Oh, somebody watched this and they gave an opinion of it. Oh, let's put it out there more. Videos are very popular that people hate. Oh, I hate that, but they want to watch it. So to tell them that, number one. But number two, to maybe just bend their thumb back, not break it, but bend it back and stare them right in the eyes and tell them, how dare you put a thumb down on my video? From the standpoint of all I'm trying to do is give out good information. That's all I'm trying to do. And I'm talking in a manner like I talk to my clients. And most of my clients that I'm working with now have been at least a client for 10 years, if not 20. I work with a select group of clients, but this is how I talk to my clients. You're not going to feel sorry for yourself. You're going to get off the pot, get off the railroad. Your house is on fire. Let's get straight. So if you've made it to here, and you've watched me before, you just saw that a little bit of coach. A little bit of coach. If you don't know what that means, then you can watch some of the other videos that I've put out where it says coach in it. But great coaches out there, when somebody comes in off the field or finishes a game and they're feeling sorry for themselves or they're feeling down other than a broken bone, other than some other tragedy, but if they're feeling sorry for themselves and they're down about the game they just played or the game they are playing, what do you think a great coach does? What do you think a great coach does? Right? Even if you've not been on a team, you already know what the answer is. And why do you think a great coach does that? Because people perform better. People get out of the circumstances they are in by not feeling sorry for themselves, not being down. I get it. It's easy to be down. I get it. Feel it. Okay. It's not my fault here. Okay. What am I down about? Are you alive and are you breathing? Yes. Okay. Is your family alive and breathing? And I know in these set of circumstances, there's a few of you out there that maybe something happened to you. But I want you to remember this. There are people out there that it's not getting new business in the door to pay employees that's their problem right now. It's not paying employees. It's not paying the mortgage. You know, we're in an environment right now, it seems on the rise, where there's more literal life and death issues about staying healthy. Whether you believe in the mask or you don't, or it's a hoax, or it's a world takeover or reset, whatever your beliefs are, and I'm sure I have less and less of you watching at this point. But whatever your beliefs are, wherever you're at, right? With the environment that we're in, be lucky that you're worried about customers coming in. Be lucky that you're worried about how do you pay your employees. Be lucky that you're worrying about how do I pay for my mortgage, because there are those that are worried about someone surviving or surviving themselves. And it does seem as though, yes, the numbers are on the rise, but at least in my area, I've not, up until like the last 4 to 6 weeks, I've not known anybody personally that's had COVID with issues. I've known people that have had COVID. I believe I had it before they started doing any testing back in March. So I only had respiratory issues. I think I might have had it a couple other times, right? But I'm talking about like on ventilators, in hospital, 20 days. We've got a friend and some friends. The wife was in the hospital 23 days, on a ventilator 23 days. Got another friend on a ventilator 2 weeks. Got another friend almost died in the hospital, ICU. I don't know how many days on a ventilator, but 2 weeks. Not telling you that you don't have real circumstances. I'm not telling you to just now skip along and act like everything's okay. What I'm telling you is assess, hold, wait, and see. It's not your fault. It's not your fault. Communicate. Zoom, Facebook, social media. Read positive books. Read positive things. If the news has got you down, don't watch the news. Right? Do things that are positive. We can go outside, backyard, whatever it is. Stay positive. In being positive isn't running around smiling necessarily. Positive is, okay, what's going on? Head up. Right? You're in a storm, you're on the sailboat, right? Staying positive is like, okay, we got this. You might be freaked out. You might be yelling at everybody around you. You might be holding on to the sail. Right? That's still positive thinking. Right? Positive thinking, okay, we're going to get through this. Feeling sorry for yourself and feeling down is, I guess I better just let go of the sail. Because here's the thing. Okay? This has nothing to do with who's in the next administration. Honestly, this doesn't have anything to do with whether or not we're going to get we're getting a vaccine, but whether it works, whether you think that it's going to put a chip in you, whether you think you're not going to take it, you are going to take it, or it's going to be the savior, it's the best. I don't care. Okay? 6 months from now, we're in a different set of circumstances. It doesn't matter who's in the White House. It won't matter who's in Congress. It won't matter about whether or not you can get a shot and feel better, or you can get a shot and this is prevented. 6 months from now, you will still be here. There'll be no more stimulus coming out. This will be the last round. A shot's either going to help or it's not. It might make the governments feel a little more comfortable, of course, opening back up. But 6 months from now, we will be in a much better position than we are now. Right? 6 months, 180 days. It's nothing. How many days have you been alive? How many days is 180 days compared to that? Nothing. Right. Now, if you know me, okay, I'm a generous individual, full of integrity, positive, pump you up, always find the positive, keep everybody up that's around me. But it also calls for these kind of things. And maybe it doesn't rub you the right way, and you're going to give me the thumbs down, and you already left the video, and I'm sorry. But I can only make what is coming from here because I'm not putting on a show for you. The way that I'm communicating here is how I communicate with my clients, with my friends, with my family. And it's in a direction of love and understanding. But you're coming off the field, you're on the field, right? You got to bear down, grit. You're going to assess. You're going to hold, you're going to wait, and you're going to see. Think of that in any sports circumstances. Take a deep breath. Stay calm. Assess, hold, wait, and see. If you made it to here, I'm sure you're a subscriber. If you haven't, thank you. And I'd love it if you'd subscribe. All right, hey, don't you ever forget, you've never met a CPA quite like me. I love you. It's all going to be okay. We're going to get through this. Be safe.